No Warehouse in Downtown Phillipsburg webinar, October 25th, 2021. This is a presentation by Fred Stine from the Delaware Riverkeeper Network.
And next, I want to introduce, with great pleasure, Fred Stine from the nationally acclaimed Delaware Riverkeepers Network.
Thank you,
Well,
Carol.
thank you very much. This is Mike King. Carol, thank you very much. Your comments are so true for downtown Phillipsburg, which has many of the very kind of people that you're talking about. They're poorer. They are poorer people, and they are not able to defend themselves in the same way that other neighborhoods would defend themselves. And in the downtown area, there's a pipe foundry, so there's a lot of air pollution already from that. So when you add it to what you're talking about, there will be a lot of impacts. The older people, the younger people, and they're economically marginalized, and it's an overburdened, environmentally overburdened community. And in filing this lawsuit, the business people and the other citizens really are stepping in for the people who live there, who cannot defend themselves. So I wanted to thank you for that, and I know you're from Easton, and Fred Stine from the Delaware Riverkeeper Network. I forget your exact title, Fred, and you could tell us that, but I first met Fred at the Easton Council meeting. That's the first time I met him in person, and he went to the Easton Council to talk about how close all of this is from the neighborhoods in Easton, like 1,000 feet, about 1,000 feet away. All of the lights and the beeping and the noise and the fumes will be affecting the people in Easton. And I'd like to thank you again, Fred, for coming out, for making that trip that night, and reaching out to the people in Easton to tell them about how what's happening in Phillipsburg will affect them. And I'd like to turn it over to you, Fred, for your presentation.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Carol. Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. The presentation I'm giving is just 20 slides, and I want to focus on the impacts of the proposed warehouse have on the Delaware River and the benefits to the local economy, the Phillipsburg local economy and jobs that a healthy river with a high quality outdoor recreational options has on the economy and jobs. I've been working with the Delaware Riverkeeper. This is just by way of an introduction. I've been working with the Delaware Riverkeeper Network for about 20 years. I'm a community organizer, but I specialize in stormwater management issues. I've received training from and become certified stormwater inspector through the National Stormwater Center. I design and implement green stormwater infrastructure, which is like rain gardens and other similar type of more green environmental stormwater management systems. The Delaware Riverkeeper Network has over 20,000 members from Hancock, New York, all the way down to the Cape May, the entire Delaware River watershed. Many of those members are in the Phillipsburg and Easton areas and Warren County areas. So the Delaware River watershed provides a lot of benefits to all of us. And you can see here on this map of the entire Delaware River, starting up into the Catskill Mountains, and the yellow star is Phillipsburg. The Delaware River provides drinking water for over 15 million people. And there's $22 billion, B with the billion with the B, in annual economic activity that's generated within the Delaware River watershed. And 600,000 direct and indirect jobs created by the Delaware River, generating about $10 billion in wages. And the last piece of information is that all of the services that this a healthy river can provide, such as drinking water, such as preventing flooding, such as providing fish habitat for fishermen, all of those sorts of things are called ecosystem services. And the Delaware River is calculated, this is University of Delaware study, calculates that it's worth $683 billion to the residents, to the communities throughout the Delaware River watershed. And then Phillipsburg is in the Delaware River watershed. Flooding. Flooding is already a serious problem in both Easton and Phillipsburg. Of course, those impacts are worsening as we have been made aware of by all the research and the reports on climate change. Flooding in these communities is getting worse. You know, studies by NOAA, by the state of New Jersey, Rutgers, Princeton, and thousands of other institutions and government agencies talk about how river flooding, fluvial flooding like the Delaware, is going to be getting more frequent and worse. I know you've seen this slide already, this aerial of Google Earth, aerial of the proposed site where the warehouse will go, the Perone warehouse will go. And I just wanted to make a point and emphasize, as I think David already did, that it's a wooded site. There's a lot of tree cover there, a lot of ground cover, tree canopy is on this site today. In Pennsylvania or New Jersey, DEP has identified this area. This is an image from New Jersey DEP from their MAPS program. It's a GIS system, but it shows that the area that's where the warehouse will go and the stormwater collection system is in an area that provides important water and water quality resources benefits to the community. It's got natural land cover, and there's but from all the trees. Now this is the artist rendition that you saw with David, and now this is the 510,000 square foot version, and there is a 420,000 square foot version out there. So obviously the 420 will be slightly smaller, but the impacts will be largely the same. If this warehouse is built, one of the most substantial changes that will happen is the loss of the tree canopy and the natural vegetated cover along Howard Street. Trees in general provide, as I'm sure we all know from our fourth grade science classes, trees all provide great benefits in air quality, water quality, and flood reduction. But what the trees on this site, this Howard Street site, what's more important of it to Phillipsburg and Phillipsburg residents is when trees are located in an urban area, which of course Phillipsburg is, research has shown that the trees actually help reduce crime, reduce stress levels, increase public safety, and even improve academic test scores because of just the benefits that they bring to a community. It's not all stark concrete, cement, and walls all over the place. There's some natural habitat there. There's birds flying around. You can just get a sense of being closer to nature, along with the air quality and water quality benefits, along with the flood reduction. So the question I have here, and I'm going to ask it again later on, is what do you want for the future of Phillipsburg along Howard Street? Do you want that forested area that we have today, or do you want a 420,000 square foot warehouse staring you in the face? And as Carol brought up too, that this community, the area where this, where the warehouse is being proposed is in an overburdened community, which is what New Jersey DEP Office of Environmental Justice has identified this section of Phillipsburg, meaning that most of the people in these neighborhoods don't have a lot of money and are most likely people of color. And they want to plop this right down where these impacts are and other impacts, the pipe foundry that Michael said, are all right down there. You find the same in Camden, New Jersey. You find the same in most poor communities. That's where they put the polluting industry. Why do they keep doing that? It's because they get a lot less resistance from the residents. And we're hoping, and you'll hear at the end of this presentation, we're hoping we're going to change that tonight with an appeal. Speaking of clearing trees, listen to what Phillipsburg's professionals say about clearing the land and replacing the trees with impervious coverage. Now what you can see here is the municipal stormwater management plan that Phillipsburg adopted. Their elected officials adopted, and I'll read straight from that. Quote, land development that dramatically alters the hydrologic cycle of a site and ultimately an entire watershed. Prior to development, native vegetation can either directly intercept precipitation or draw that portion that has infiltrated into the ground and return it to the atmosphere through evapotranspiration. Development can remove this beneficial vegetation and replace it with lawn or impervious coverage, reducing the site's evapotranspiration and infiltration rates. Clearing and grading a site can remove depressions in the land, like low spots in the land, that store rainfall. Construction activities may also compact the soil and diminish its infiltration ability, resulting in an increase in volumes and rates of stormwater runoff from the site. These increases can create new and aggravate existing stormwater and downstream flooding and erosion problems. This is what it says in the town's municipal stormwater management plan, which was adopted, prepared by Van Cleef and adopted. What they're proposing to do now is to cut down a forest, a 31-acre forest, as we heard, and put impervious coverage over it. The next transition, the next series of slides that I'll show talk about the benefits to local economy and jobs from a healthy river and a high quality outdoor recreation. You can see from this slide in New Jersey, and this is from the Outdoor Industry Association. I can't see because of the couple of images off to the side. Anyway, you can see from the image that high quality outdoor recreational income generates 132,000 direct jobs and $11.7 billion in economic value. And I apologize, I can't read the wages and salaries at the bottom because I have something over top of that. But the point here is that when a developer comes in and says, we need this warehouse because it's going to create jobs and it's going to create tax ratables, while that may be partly true, keeping that area as a forest, providing the ecological value that a forested area has on outdoor recreation creates jobs, and it creates taxes and generates income for local businesses also. As this image from the Skyland visitors shows, that outdoor recreation throughout Warren County, bike-friendly infrastructure is already in place, and there's already promotion of these kinds of outdoor activities are already in place. Images from down, the recreation is not just bicycles, but it's tubing and rafting down right past Phillipsburg and right past the right past Easton. As reported in the Skylands Visitors, the Rails to Trail magazine, and Pennsylvania DCNR, there is already high quality outdoor recreation of all kinds in and around Phillipsburg, throughout Warren County and the New Jersey Skylands, and across the river on the DNL Trail. This high quality outdoor recreation, or ecotourism, attracts tourists that want to come to this area to play, but also to eat at restaurants, stay at hotels, grab a sandwich from a deli, grab a beer at the brew pub. Some of Pittsburgh's downtown small businesses depend on those tourists that will come across, and will come across the bridge from Easton. Will those tourists be more or less likely to come and sit out on an outdoor table with a warehouse, with all the trucks, the noise, the lights, and the smells? According to the Rails to Trails Conservancy, again, with increased restrictions on close contact activities because of COVID, Americans across the country swamped local trails. Swamp, that's a good word. They went crazy, and they went to the local trails and rivers to hike, to bike, to paddle, and to swim away in their free time. The Conservancy found that the use increased in trails across the country, increased by 200% on several trails from 2019 to 2020. And the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission saw some trails see increases of over 450%. And this, even though we're loosening up those restrictions, the push for being outdoors has maintained momentum. So these kinds of increases in people riding on the DNL trail and going out leaf peeping in the Poconos and that sort of thing has continued on. And so the point is that would that continue to happen if you continue to chip away with another warehouse on the waterfront? According to, and we all know that, the American shad is back. When the river used to be so polluted, American shad and other migratory fish weren't able to come upriver. They're coming back thanks to the Clean Water Act. A study done by Top Line Fishing Equipment in 2017 found that nationwide, 31.5 million adults 25 years or older went fishing, and at the national level, more than $11.8 billion is spent on fishing gear and accessories. Again, this is just another way to show that by protecting this high quality recreation that Phillipsburg already has. As Dave mentioned, he said the river is one of the greatest resources that the city has, or the greatest resource the city has after its people. And the recreation along these areas is 4 seasons. It happens year round. And people do cross over. If Easton is a big draw with the DNL Canal, if people look across at Phillipsburg and see a lively downtown with a forested area, they're going to walk across the bridge. If they see a warehouse with lots of trucks clogging up Main Street, maybe not so much. So again, what will attract more outdoor recreational enthusiasts to downtown Phillipsburg? And to conclude my presentation by again going right to the township's website and read what Phillipsburg is supposed to be. Spoiler alert here, it is not what the current town council and land use boards are bending over backwards to bring in. This is what is on the township's own website, that Phillipsburg is located on the Delaware River in a beautiful setting of rolling hills, woodlands, and flowing waters. Phillipsburg, New Jersey offers the best of all worlds. Here, you can escape from the crowded and personal developments and find the joys of living in a close-knit community of family and friends as you enjoy all the advantages of urban living as well as rural atmosphere. From a quaint downtown waterfront shopping district to a choice of nearby airports. Just 30 minutes from the Poconos and midway between Philly and New York, Phillipsburg is a historic town with an exciting future. It's a place where the beauty, culture, tourism, and recreational activities are enhanced with a growing base of small and mid-sized businesses. There's not a word in those two slides, in my opinion, that speak to what the town council and the land use board are trying to jam down Phillipsburg's throats. They're doing just the opposite. Thank you very much.